Thank you for tuning in to your #1 channel for raw, unbiased education on physical and mental health. My original video on salicylates, I have to admit, was a little bit dry. It was my first one. But in that video, I explained what salicylates are and how they can potentially adversely affect your health. A quick summary of what salicylates are: they are natural organic compounds found mostly in plants, but they can, in high quantities, so if you're consuming a lot of them, they can cause adverse health reactions, including skin disorders, anxiety, all kinds of issues with sleep, such as insomnia. You can look at headaches, body aches, arthritis. There's a whole host of complications that can come along with salicylate toxicity or getting too many salicylates. Interestingly, salicylates vary greatly in their levels throughout the plant kingdom. For example, leek contains very low levels of salicylates, while on the contrary, spinach contains very high levels of salicylates. A study published in June 2022, so if you're watching this year in 2022, it was just recently published, and the links can be found in the description section of the video below. This study measured the amount of salicylic acid, asalicylate, which is a key plant hormone responsible for helping to regulate the plant's own immune system. It is produced by plants to help protect themselves from external stress, such as heat, drought, and even insects. To summarize the findings of this study, the authors found that when they exposed the subject plant, so they took one variety of plant, when they exposed that plant to long durations of heat or drought, the plant would respond with an increase in the level of its production of salicylates. Sometimes I need things to be told to me in layman's terms, so if you're one of those people as well, the nuts and bolts of this study is that when the plant experienced stress, the level of salicylic acid production increased dramatically. On a side note, salicylic acid is actually used to produce aspirin, a popular pain reliever that you may have heard about already. Isn't it interesting that the plant, when it's experiencing stress and discomfort, is using the salicylic acid to relieve its pain and to protect itself, much like you and I would take aspirin to relieve discomfort or pain in our body? I understand that this is just one study and it's relatively new, and it may not apply to a whole range of plants and various fruit trees and vegetables that we consume. More research would need to be done, and that is actually the goal of the authors of this study. Stay with me here as I do a quick diversion away from plants to animals, and then I'm going to come straight back to plants. One sector of the agricultural industry that is where its subjects experience extreme levels of stress is the meat production or the animal production sector. For decades now, many not-for-profit organizations, animal activists, and just generally concerned humans have tried to increase awareness about the conditions that many of our animals are experiencing before they're actually used to be consumed. So we're talking about feedlots where they're cramped in and they don't have access to natural grass. We're talking about, unfortunately, cages, and even just not even being exposed or being allowed to see daylight. It's just terrible, it's awful, I don't agree with it, and that is the fact though. This has resulted in the free range, pasture raised, and even the organic movement to a certain extent, which all aim to increase the quality of life for the animal as it's going through its growth stage, but also to benefit the final consumer, which is you or I or anybody else, with a better quality of meat. Coming back to plants now, could modern day farming practices actually be creating additional stress for our plants, for our fruit trees, for our crops all across the globe. Obviously not the same stress as what animals go through in relation to being restricted to the natural elements and being cramped in, but other stresses such as monoculture, which I've mentioned before in my videos, where the same plot of land is continually sown with the same crop over and over and over again, and that leads to eventual soil and nutrient depletion. We've also got a large increase recently in the hydroponic sector, so we've got lots of tomatoes and other various plants that grow well in those conditions, but maybe they're not supposed to be exposed to that much light. And I know that the aim is to grow them quickly and get them to the supermarket, but are we having a thought for the actual plant here? Do they do anything differently? Are they going to turn out differently with the levels of nutrients, the levels of salicylates, having been under that much stress from the light for that amount of time? And we've also got growth-based fertilizers such as NPK, which really aim to get the plant to grow, and they do, but it's only 3 particular minerals that are contained in that. And where are the other minerals, and why are they not being supplemented as well? So a lot of these modern day farming practices are really just to get the crop to grow big fruits, big vegetables, etc. But are they nutrient dense? And also, are we giving a thought to the stress that the plants are under, and therefore are they producing more salicylates in response to that stress? Because ultimately, if they are, it's you and I that are going to be consuming those increased levels of salicylates. Quickly going back to animals, as mentioned, when the animals feel stressed, I don't think there's many people on the planet that would disagree with the fact that if the animal has been grown in poor conditions, where it hasn't been happy, where it's been crowded in, it's had to walk in its own feces, etc., it's probably not going to be the best quality meat or milk that eventually comes from that animal. So the same could be said for plants as well. If we're growing plants in these particular manners, where we're boosting them with particular fertilizers that only contain a fraction of the nutrients that they need, if we're putting them on the same patch of soil over and over again, we're spraying them with herbicides, we're getting rid of the pests that are affecting crop yields and spraying them again, it's just any wonder that that wouldn't be considered a stressful environment as well. Now, for some individuals, increased levels of salicylates may not have any impact on them. Perhaps they're not experiencing much stress in their life, they're able to eat lots of plants, they may be even plant-based, and they're thriving, having a great time, they don't have any lingering health issues, and that's wonderful. For the sensitive people that are out there, that when you do have something that's really high in salicylates and you do notice a little bit of increased anxiety, or you might have a flare-up on your skin, or you have digestive troubles, then that is already an issue for many individuals across the planet, and a lot don't actually know. Salicylates are actually relatively new to the research world. A lot of the time when you say to somebody, oh, it could be the fruit, the amount of fruit that you're eating, or the amount of vegetables, the amount of plants in general, it doesn't get well received at all, because in their mind it's like something natural that nature provides is not good for me. And it's like, hold up a second, it's not that the plant isn't good for you, or the fruit, they absolutely are, but whether we're supposed to be consuming them at the rate that we are and at the levels that we are, and then with this new information from this study that's suggesting that the plants might be stressed, and when they are exposed to stress, increase their level of salicylates again, then it's just going to overburden and overwhelm a lot of people's detoxification pathways and cause all kinds of unpleasant issues, unfortunately. What's the suggestion today? Simply, if you're consuming large amounts of plant foods, so fruits and vegetables and grains, etc., and you are vibrant and you are functioning optimally and you don't have any lingering health issues, wonderful. Continue on doing that, you're doing a great job. But if your health isn't 100%, if there are some lingering health issues that you haven't been able to get past, it may be worth looking into for a period of time, and unfortunately it is a a significant period of time. It's usually about 5 to 6 weeks. But if you can look for the next 5 to 6 weeks at reducing the foods that are high in salicylates, then it can just give your body a bit of a break from consuming those and just see if there is any difference in the way that you feel. Now, I know that's a hard task. It pretty much means reducing most vegetables, most fruits, and then when you have grains, just making sure that they're refined grains and that you're cooking them well. So that's it for today. I will do more videos on salicylates in the near future. Got nothing from today? Thumbs down. If you got something from today, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing this video. In the meantime, I ask that you keep well, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.